NFPA 780, which is the standard for the installation of lightning protection systems, requires that down conductors be exposed to air and mounted on the outside of the structure, except as permitted elsewhere. This is outlined in Section 10.5.1 of NFPA 780. However, Section 10.5.1.1 of NFPA 780 allows down conductors to be installed inside the building if they are protected from physical damage and corrosion, and if the entire length of the conductor within the building is insulated. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, does not specifically address the location of down conductors for lightning protection systems. The presence of a UL master label indicates that the installation has been evaluated and certified by UL as meeting applicable safety standards, including NFPA 780. Based on this information, it appears that a down conductor installed inside a wall might be in violation of NFPA 780 unless specific conditions are met. If the down conductor is fully insulated and protected from physical damage and corrosion, it may be considered compliant with the exception in Section 10.5.1.1 of NFPA 780. The UL Master Label suggests inspection and certification by UL, but it's crucial to review the certification-specific requirements and conditions to ensure it covers the interior installation of the down conductor. While the interior installation of a down conductor might not be explicitly prohibited by the NEC, ensuring compliance with NFPA 780 is advisable. Consulting with a qualified lightning protection professional is recommended to assess the installation and determine if it meets all applicable safety standards. To further elaborate on the requirements, let's delve deeper into the nuances of NFPA 780 and the NEC. NFPA 780 aims to minimize the risk of lightning strikes causing fire, damage to property, or injury to persons. It provides comprehensive guidelines for lightning protection systems, encompassing various aspects such as the placement of air terminals, the routing of down conductors, and the grounding of the system. The requirement for down conductors to be exposed to air and mounted on the outside of the structure is primarily intended to facilitate the safe dissipation of lightning current to the ground. By keeping the down conductors on the exterior, the risk of the lightning current inducing voltages in nearby electrical or electronic systems within the building is reduced. Additionally, an external installation allows for easier inspection and maintenance of the down conductors, ensuring their continued effectiveness. However, NFPA 780 recognizes that there may be situations where an interior installation of down conductors is necessary or desirable. In such cases, the exception provided in Section 10.5.1.1 allows for interior installations, provided that certain conditions are met. Firstly, the down conductor must be protected from physical damage. This means that the conductor should be installed in a location where it is not likely to be struck by objects or subjected to other forms of mechanical stress. For example, the conductor could be installed within a protective conduit or behind a wall. Secondly, the down conductor must be protected from corrosion. Copper, which is commonly used for down conductors, can corrode over time when exposed to moisture or certain chemicals. To prevent corrosion, the conductor can be coated with a protective material or installed in a dry environment. Thirdly, the entire length of the conductor within the building must be insulated. This is a critical requirement, as it helps to prevent the lightning current from arcing or jumping to nearby metal objects or electrical systems. The insulation should be of a type that is suitable for high voltage applications and should be properly installed to ensure that there are no gaps or breaks in the insulation. Now let's consider the role of the NEC in relation to lightning protection systems. As previously mentioned, the NEC does not specifically address the location of down conductors. However, the NEC does contain general requirements for grounding and bonding, which are relevant to lightning protection systems. For example, the NEC requires that all metal parts of a building that are likely to become energized be bonded together and grounded to a common grounding electrode system. This helps to ensure that lightning current is safely dissipated to the ground and that the risk of electrical shock is minimized. Furthermore, the NEC contains requirements for the separation of lightning protection conductors from electrical wiring. This is to prevent the lightning current from inducing voltages in the electrical wiring, which could damage equipment or create a fire hazard. It is important to note that compliance with the NEC does not necessarily ensure compliance with NFPA 780. While the NEC provides general guidelines for grounding and bonding, NFPA 780 provides more specific requirements for lightning protection systems. Therefore, it is essential to consult both the NEC and NFPA 780 when designing and installing a lightning protection system. The presence of a UL master label on a lightning protection system indicates that the system has been evaluated and certified by UL as meeting applicable safety standards. UL is a nationally recognized testing laboratory that develops and publishes safety standards for a wide range of products and systems. The UL master label is a mark of conformity that indicates that a product or system has been tested and found to comply with the applicable UL standards. In the case of lightning protection systems, the UL master label indicates that the system has been tested and found to comply with NFPA 780. However, it is important to note that the UL master label only applies to the specific components and installation methods that were evaluated by UL. If the system is modified or altered in any way, the UL master label may no longer be valid. Therefore, it is essential to ensure that any modifications or alterations to a lightning protection system are performed by a qualified lightning protection professional and that the system is re-evaluated by UL to ensure continued compliance with NFPA 780. In conclusion, the interior installation of a down conductor in a lightning protection system is a complex issue that requires careful consideration of both NFPA 780 and the NEC. While the NEC does not specifically prohibit interior installations, NFPA 780 generally requires that down conductors be exposed to air and mounted on the outside of the structure. However, NFPA 780 does allow for interior installations under certain conditions, provided that the conductor is protected from physical damage and corrosion and that the entire length of the conductor within the building is insulated. The presence of a UL master label indicates that the system has been evaluated and certified by UL as meeting applicable safety standards, but it is important to review the specific requirements and conditions of the certification to ensure that it covers the interior installation of the down conductor. Ultimately, the decision of whether or not to install a down conductor inside a building wall should be made by a qualified lightning protection professional who can assess the specific circumstances and ensure that the installation meets all applicable safety standards. In addition to the above considerations, it is also important to consider the potential impact of an interior installation on the performance of the lightning protection system. As mentioned earlier, the primary purpose of a lightning protection system is to safely dissipate lightning current to the ground. When a down conductor is installed inside a building wall, the lightning current may have to travel a longer distance to reach the ground than if the conductor were installed on the exterior of the building. This can increase the impedance of the down conductor, which can reduce its effectiveness in dissipating lightning current. Furthermore, an interior installation may make it more difficult to inspect and maintain the down conductor. Over time, the conductor may corrode or become damaged, which can reduce its effectiveness. If the conductor is hidden behind a wall, it may be difficult to detect these problems until they become severe. For these reasons, it is generally preferable to install down conductors on the exterior of a building whenever possible. However, if an interior installation is necessary or desirable, it is essential to take steps to minimize the potential impact on the performance of the system. This may include using a larger diameter conductor, providing additional grounding electrodes, and ensuring that the conductor is properly insulated and protected from physical damage and corrosion. Remember that any specific requirements from the authority having jurisdiction should always be adhered to. This is typically the local building or electrical inspector. They will have the final say in whether or not an installation is code compliant. The National Fire Protection Association, or NFPA, develops codes and standards that are widely adopted by local jurisdictions. These codes are updated on a regular basis, so it is important to stay up to date with the latest version. The NEC, published by the NFPA as NFPA 70, provides requirements for electrical installations, and NFPA 780 provides requirements for lightning protection systems. Understanding the specific requirements of these codes is crucial for ensuring the safety and effectiveness of any electrical or lightning protection system. When dealing with lightning protection systems, it is essential to consult with qualified professionals who have expertise in this area. Lightning protection is a specialized field, and proper design and installation require a thorough understanding of the relevant codes and standards. A qualified lightning protection professional can assess the specific needs of a building and design a system that will effectively protect it from lightning strikes. They can also ensure that the installation is code compliant and that the system is properly maintained. Regular inspections of lightning protection systems are also recommended to ensure that they are in good working order. Over time, components can corrode or become damaged, which can reduce the effectiveness of the system. Regular inspections can identify these problems early on so that they can be corrected before they lead to more serious issues. These inspections should be performed by qualified professionals who are familiar with the relevant codes and standards. They can assess the condition of the system and recommend any necessary repairs or upgrades. When selecting a lightning protection system, it is important to consider the specific needs of the building and the environment in which it is located. Factors such as the size and shape of the building, the type of construction materials used, and the frequency of lightning strikes in the area can all affect the design of the system. A qualified lightning protection professional can help to assess these factors and recommend a system that is appropriate for the specific situation. It is also important to consider the cost of the system. Lightning protection systems can range in price from a few $100s to several $1,000s, depending on the size and complexity of the system. It is important to get multiple quotes from different installers and to compare the features and benefits of each system. However, it is also important to remember that the cost of the system is not the only factor to consider. A cheaper system may not provide adequate protection, which could end up costing more in the long run if the building is struck by lightning. The consequences of a lightning strike can be severe, including fire, structural damage, and electrical damage. A properly designed and installed lightning protection system can significantly reduce these risks. Therefore, it is important to invest in a system that will provide adequate protection and to ensure that it is properly maintained. Furthermore, it is important to educate building occupants about the dangers of lightning and the importance of taking precautions during thunderstorms. People should be advised to stay indoors during thunderstorms and to avoid contact with metal objects that could conduct electricity. They should also be aware of the signs of a lightning strike, such as a sudden flash of light or a loud clap of thunder. If a building is struck by lightning, it is important to evacuate the building immediately and to contact the fire department. Lightning strikes can cause fires to start in hidden areas, so it is important to have the building inspected by qualified professionals to ensure that it is safe to re-enter. In addition to protecting buildings from lightning strikes, lightning protection systems can also be used to protect outdoor areas, such as parks and golf courses. These systems typically consist of a series of lightning rods that are installed throughout the area. The lightning rods are designed to attract lightning strikes and to safely conduct the current to the ground. This can help to prevent injuries to people who are outdoors during thunderstorms. Lightning protection systems are an important investment for any building or outdoor area that is at risk of being struck by lightning. A properly designed and installed system can significantly reduce the risk of fire, structural damage, and electrical damage. It is important to consult with qualified professionals to ensure that the system is appropriate for the specific situation and that it is properly maintained. The specific standards and regulations governing lightning protection systems can vary depending on the location. It is important to be aware of the local requirements and to ensure that any lightning protection system is designed and installed in accordance with these requirements. This may involve obtaining permits and inspections from local authorities. Failure to comply with local requirements can result in fines and other penalties. It is also important to be aware of the insurance implications of lightning protection systems. Some insurance companies may offer discounts to buildings that have lightning protection systems installed. However, it is important to check with the insurance company to determine the specific requirements for obtaining a discount. In some cases, the insurance company may require that the system be inspected by a qualified professional on a regular basis. The design and installation of a lightning protection system should be considered during the construction phase of a building. This can help to ensure that the system is properly integrated into the building structure and that it is not aesthetically unappealing. It can also help to reduce the cost of the system, as it can be installed more easily during construction. However, it is also possible to install a lightning protection system on an existing building. In this case, it is important to carefully assess the building structure and to design the system in a way that minimizes any aesthetic impact. It is also important to ensure that the installation does not damage the building structure or create any other safety hazards. Lightning protection systems are not a guarantee that a building will never be struck by lightning. However, they can significantly reduce the risk of damage and injury. It is important to remember that lightning is a powerful force of nature and that there is always some risk involved. However, by taking appropriate precautions and by installing a properly designed and maintained lightning protection system, it is possible to significantly reduce the risks associated with lightning strikes.